flipped this open, how was this not wrapped in plastic? Notori is a freaky frog. Hey guys, it's me, Kendra, and welcome back to my corner of the internet. As you know, your girl has been reading like crazy all these mangas that I've been buying, and I just want to talk to somebody about it. So I decided, let's do a little online book club. Now, if you remember from my manga journey video, I said that I had, I think, volume 1 and 2 of Sweat and Soap for a while, but never really opened it. Bought volume 3 and volume 4 during the sales. And you know, I decided finally, after catching up on one of my other series, I'm gonna read this next. And y'all, I am so glad that I did. So just a refresher for what the plot is about. We have these two that work at the same company. She sweats a whole lot and he likes the scent of it. That's basically like the gist of it. Let me tell you, the first time I flipped this open, I was like, how is this not wrapped in plastic? I was like, this? I was shocked because him right here, Notori is a freaky frog ribbon. So in volume 1, we get introduced to them officially. We have Asuka right here. She works for Lilia, I don't know if I'm going to say it right, Lilia Drop, that's the company they both work for, but she works, I think it's in the finance department. And we get introduced to her and how she has a problem. She has overactive sweat glands. She sweats so much that she like wears sweat pads throughout her clothes. She doesn't sweat through her clothes. She goes and wipes herself down at least twice a day in the bathroom. And as she's going to wipe herself down, then we run into Notori. Now he is the product head development of the scents for Lilia Drop. The reason why she loves the soap so much is because of him, but she's never met him before. She just really, really likes the smell. So I think it's when she's wiping herself down out from the bathroom and he like runs into her and he's like, oh my gosh, you smell amazing. She's freaked out, of course. Of course, there is a stigma around sweating so much. So she has very big insecurities from that. And he's like, nah, babe, I think you smell good. To the point that he wants to use her scent in a soap. She's flabbergasted, but she agrees to go along with it. And so he comes and he smells her every day. I'm talking, wait, let me see if I can find a picture. Like, okay, I don't know if you can see this panel, but this is him smelling her every day. I'm like, his nose is in her neck. Look at this one. He's trying to find the smell when he first smelled her, because when he first smelled her, she was looking at one of her favorite soaps and the smell was like her happiness, but he wasn't able to recreate it until the day of the presentation when she was like so happy to see him. And he was like, oh my gosh, this is the smell that I want to smell all the time. Like, this is it. And he gets a little too close and she freaks out and she's like, oh my goodness, she runs away. And he feels so bad because he didn't really mean to push her the way that he did. He's trying to apologize. She's not answering because, again, she's insecure. She doesn't think that her being sweaty could be an attractive thing. But baby, let me tell you, this man right here. Okay, so he's trying to apologize. He can't reach her. He's like, you know what? I'm going to see if I can reach her and catch her on the way home. She's on the train. Of course, you know what happens with a pretty girl on a train. We have a groper scene. But not to worry, because Notori comes and saves Asuko. And she's like, oh my gosh, thank you. They talk about it. And then what happens? She loses her virginity. And I can't show you the panel exactly, but it's in chapter, I think this is 2. And I'm like, this is why this needs to be wrapped in plastic. Oh, that was still the end of chapter 1. Gosh, that was all that I just said was chapter 1. That was a lot for one chapter. And I think that's one of the reasons I like this manga too. It is not slow in the least bit. We are moving through their love life, and I love that. The rest of volume 1 is more sniffing. They decide to date for real, so they're secretly dating. They're trying to find time to spend at work. You know, Notori wants his like daily sniff. That's how he gets through the day. He has to go and smell Asuko. So they're trying to find places to do it because she wants to keep it a secret. He is a big wig in the company. He's very popular with the ladies, and she just doesn't want that kind of attention around the relationship. I totally get it. This is also when they go on their first date to the movies. They end up leaving halfway through because, like I said, Notori needed to smell Asuka. He didn't get his daily sniff of the day. He's so aggravating because why did he leave the movie like that? He was like, I can't sniff you in public. We need to go. And she got up and went. This is also where they have their first communication. She texted him, he forgot to reply. She then saw him like hanging out with his team. She felt a little disconnected from him, a little lonely, like, why didn't you reply? He comes to sniff her, of course, for work. They talk about it, they apologize, and it's done. Oh, when I tell you, good communication, okay? Better than any smutty scene could be. Let's move on to volume 2, where hot baby brother and work subordinate pop in. Oh, also their ages. She is 28. He's 30. Baby brother is 24. And I think little subordinate is like 22, 23. Just wanted to say that because baby brother could mean a whole lot of things. No, he's not a kid. This is a man. So with this, we kind of pick up where we left off in volume 1. Asuko starts getting a little bit jealous of his junior because she spends a lot of time with him, and she's heard the junior kind of talk about him in a way that's not just, I admire you for your work. It's feeling a little romantic, but we pick up to where the junior comes to Asuko's department because she has to do the receipts for the company, and she's giving Asuko the receipts. And Asuko's like, well, where'd you get this receipt from? Where'd you get this receipt from? And the junior's like, oh yeah, when me and Notori senpai went, blah, blah, blah. And Asuko's like, okay, you got a lot of stories about you and Notori. Interesting, because he's my boyfriend. But she doesn't say that because they're secretly dating. So she's trying not to seem jealous while listening to this younger girl spout off about all the time they spend together. But of course, she can't help herself and accidentally slips up in the conversation, and the girl is like, for somebody who works in a very separate department and seems to have never gotten contact with Notori, you sure kind of know what he's like. The next scene is that they're on a date. Asuko is still thinking about that conversation. They end up in a love hotel. And they rush to work the next day. At work, Asuko gets distracted and starts thinking about how hyper and cool the young junior that works for Notori is. She's feeling a little insecure again, but not about her sweat this time, just about herself in general. She knows that she's a very quiet woman, very unassuming, and she's just wondering why somebody so popular in the company who has a great personality, who everybody likes, why does he want to be with her? And now we skip to the company retreat, and you know what that means. We gonna get a drunk scene. Why is it whenever it's a company retreat or a company party, somebody gets drunk? Okay, I'm talking about wasted, tie around their head, woo! But I like it in romance manga because somebody's saying something that they really want to say but can't. So on the company retreat, Asuko discovers Notori's silly side and how even though he's this amazing product developer, there are some things that he's not good at, and that makes him a little bit more human to her. We also have Little Miss Junior, okay, try to be sneaky. She tries to introduce them to see if she could trip them up, saying, oh, Notori senpai, this is the lady who helped me in finance. And also, she loves our soap. How do you feel about that? Have you ever met her? And of course, Notori plays it off cool, like, oh my gosh, thanks for liking our soaps. And Asuko's like, yeah, I love them so much, da-da-da. And Junior's like, maybe they don't know each other, but I'm still keeping an eye out for them. Just like Nikki kept an eye out for Selena. Anyway, that drunk scene comes up, and it's Notori who gets drunk, basically admitting his feelings are deeper. He doesn't want her to smell like anything else but the soap that he makes. Because when he went to the Love Hotel, she had to shower the next day, and he didn't like how she smelled. So he's just basically like, I want you to smell like the soaps that you love. I don't want you to use any other soap. I like you so much, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, this trip has helped me realize that you're not perfect and I shouldn't put you on a pedestal. He falls asleep on the couch. And of course, this little thing is too heavy to pick him up. And guess who finds him? Her boss. She's about to cry because she's like, oh my gosh, my secret is exposed. But her boss is like real cool. He's like, I'm gonna keep the secret anyway. The next day, Notori is sick and his nose is stopped up. Now, y'all already know how my boy is. His nose stopped up? He can't smell his lady? Oh, he's losing his freaking mind. She cooks for him. She tells him that the boss knows about their secret relationship, but everything's okay. And then it's time for my favorite part. No, it's not smut. It's communication, baby. She tells him, hey, you know how you pat your junior on the head? You show her a lot of affection in public, and even though our relationship isn't very public, it makes me feel kind of uncomfortable. And he's like, bet, I won't do it no more. That's the communication I'm talking about. A problem was presented. They talked about it. She said how she felt. And he was like, cool, it bothers you? I won't do it no more. Now, the rest of the volume is Asako going home to visit her family. She tells her mom that she's dating somebody. Mom's super excited, but brother is not. Brother is very overprotective of her because he was around for all the bullying she endured because of her sweatiness. Like, if she still feels insecure about it now as an adult, you can only imagine how bad it was as a child. He's like, she's dating and she hasn't really had a serious boyfriend before. I'm keeping an eye on whoever it is. He is a chef at a very popular restaurant. So he's like, you know what? Why don't you guys come to my restaurant? We're gonna have dinner together. I'm gonna cook for you guys. You can introduce me to him. And she's like, sure. He's not there on no, I wanna get to know you. He's there on some, I'm testing you, boy, and you better pass. So the day of the date, she wears a super cute dress to work. And it's so cute, so much that people from other departments who don't even talk to her are like, yo, Asako's looking kind of good, bro. So then it's time for their date. They go to the restaurant, they're eating. Baby brother starts test number 1. He gives Asako a Japanese menu, but gives Notori, and I think it was an Italian menu. And she's like ordering, and he's like, dang, she's really good Italian. But that fails because Notori actually knows a little bit of Italian, and it makes him look cooler in front of Asako. They flirt in front of baby brother and Kaita, which is baby brother, but I like calling him baby brother. And Kaita's like, wow, they actually really do like each other. They have a heart-to-heart about how Asako doesn't always put herself first because she's always been kind of timid. So he's like, look, she brought you here. She told my mom and me about you. It's very serious. I want you to take this seriously and make sure that you are treating her right. Notori is like, yes, of course. And they end the day by deciding to spend the weekend at each other's house. Now we on volume 3, and this is where we have a little bit more jealousy, but not from Asako, from Notori. One day, after Notori had wore that cute dress, one of the guys at the department started talking to her more. And of course, Notori saw at the lunchroom when the guy was talking to her, and he was like, who is this man? He comes over and starts a little conversation with her because he's jealous. It's a cute little conversation. They leave. He asks her for a sweaty handkerchief. That man. Another communication time. He ends up coming over and is like, look, the reason that I really came over at lunchtime was because I saw another man. I was really jealous. I'm about to go out of town for like 3 days. I'm not going to see you. That's why I wanted this handkerchief so I can like smell your scent. I was just feeling a little insecure. They reassure each other, and he goes on his trip with Junior. Her name is Ichisi. I'm gonna stick to calling her Junior because I don't want to butcher her name. So on this trip is just research for a new scent. It's actually a 4-day trip, and while they're running around having meetings back home, Asako is having girl talk with her co-workers. So while Asako is talking to her boss about relationships in general, Junior realizes that her and Notori's relationship is a little bit different. You remember when I said that Asako said, I don't really want you touching your Junior? Well, he hasn't done the head chop or head rub to Junior, and Junior's like, what's going on? That was our thing. And then it happens. Junior catches Notori on the phone, and what does he say? Good night, Asako. I miss you, Asako. Can't wait to see you again, Asako. Girly is hurt. She was like, oh, they tricked me. They actually are together and dating, and the feelings that I have are crushed. So she confronts him about it, and he's like, I can't lie. You heard me on the phone. Yes, me and Asako are dating. It's different with her. She never chased after me because of my status at the company. I truly care for her. Like, this is not a small little fling. I want to be with her. He's like, I hope we can still be good co-workers, but he's hopping on that train to get home to his honey because it's been 4 days without sniffing her smell. He comes in, he's a little distraught. He's like, look, I told Junior that we're dating. I know you don't want anybody to know, but she figured it out. I also love you. And she's like, I love you back. And freaky frog times ensue. He be tonguing her down. He loves this woman. He goes back to work. Him and Junior are good. She's like, look, you know what? You have a lot to teach me. I have a lot to learn. I can put my feelings to the side. Junior and Asako talk it out. They're cool now. Everything is good. And now it's time for Notori's birthday. Now, Asako is kind of nervous because this is her first boyfriend's birthday that she gets to participate in. They go shopping and she's trying to find him a gift. She can't find him anything. Is there something that you want? And he was like, girl, you know what I want? I want us to go on a couples trip to Hokkaido, which, you know, your girl's a little well-versed in Hokkaido because of Hokkaido Gals is super adorable. Anime coming January 2024. He's like, on this trip, I want her to be a little bit more relaxed and free. We're gonna go to Hokkaido together. I want it to be a fun trip. They're eating a lot of foods. They have a lovely room. And his thing he wants her to do is have an open air bath, which is basically like a mixed bath. It's like not a pool, but you know how they have hot springs. So it's like a hot spring in their room. And it's like, you can see out into the distance. Y'all are together in the open air bath, naked. She's a little shy, but she tries it out. Her something new. They have a good time. Freaky Frog activities ensue, and that's the end of volume 3. Then the last volume that I own, volume 4. So they are back from their trip. They're stronger than ever. And Notori and Asako decide that, you know what, we're going to start telling some of our friends at work that we are together. So it starts off with Notori. He goes and he gathers up the people in his department and he's like, hey, I want you to meet this girl that I'm dating. It goes super well. She sees how he gets along with his team. She loves being included with his friends. And then is on to the next chapter where we find out that Notori's lease agreement is up. And so what else pops in his head but then to ask his girlfriend, hey, we should move in together. But here's where he messes up. He didn't say, hey, I love you, and I think we should get a place together so that we can be closer, you know, spend time with each other. He's like, hey girl, my lease agreement is almost up and I'm thinking about should I renew it? And I was like, wait, why don't we just live with each other? That's not what you say to the woman you love. We should move in together because my lease is up. That is equivalent to we ain't getting no younger, so we might as well do it. She was like, oh, I'll think about it on the phone. And he's like, ooh, that did not sound like her at all. He talks to his coworker and he like says a whole lot of stuff. It doesn't really mean anything, but it scares Notori because he's like, she hasn't called me back or said if she wants to move in with me or not. But the one good thing that the coworker did say was that any problems that arise, anything, talk about it together, communicate. And, you know, they got that down pat. So now we have Asako go and ask her coworker, hey, you and your boyfriend live with each other. How did that happen? And the coworker's like, oh, he said, you want to live together? And I was like, yeah. And Asako's like, I can't do that. It just seems like a big deal. And the coworker's like, whatever the reason y'all want to move in with each other, talk about it first, because if not, you can just be stumbling into any old thing. You want to make sure that you guys are secure of where you are. After she meets with her coworker, he calls. He's like, I really need to talk to you. She's like, I need to talk to you too. And he's like, I can't wait. Let me come over. And he recounts how like, hey, I know I just said it over the phone. You want to move in together. But I was also thinking about when I went away from my trip and I came back home and you had been staying there and you said, welcome home. That made me feel happy, like my heart felt full. And she's like, actually, when you asked me on the phone, I felt so happy I couldn't say anything, but I was also nervous because our relationship is still new. Then she says, the reason why I was also kind of nervous is because it's one thing for us to see each other or to stay the night, but it's another thing for us to be in each other's face. You might get sick of me, you know, you might get disappointed in me, it just makes me feel nervous. And he's like, literally, that could never happen. They decide at the end, yes, we do want to move in with each other, but also let's make sure that we're on the same page. Notori goes and is like, okay, I am going to talk to your brother. Talks to the brother. Brother is like, I mean, I can't stop y'all. Y'all are grown, but also I know how you feel about her. So the volume ends with Kaita and Notori talking, Asako wanting to be domestic and make lunch for her man. And they also have what Notori calls his kiss and smell map. He marked all the places at work where they can just, you know, give each other a little peck and he can get his daily sniff in. And that's the end of volume 4. That marks the end of my book club of volumes 1 through 4 of Sweat and Soap. If I missed any of your favorite moments, if you've read it, tell me in the comments below. Maybe you didn't read it, but you kind of wanted to know the synopsis and know what's happening before you spent money and jumped in or spent time and jumped in, let me know. Are you going to read it now? Does it seem like an interesting read? This will not be my only book club video. I have quite a few volumes of manga that I'm reading right now, and I love to share my thoughts and opinions with you guys. Alright, so your fave cutie is peacing out, but before I do, I need to say something. Come closer. The way that Asako and Notori communicated, I need you to communicate with other people in your life. Don't be walking around not saying what you really mean and feel. Make sure you communicate and tell people how you really feel about stuff instead of letting it fly by. And after you do that, make sure you subscribe. Okay, bye.